Now offer 20 1989 model Dodge Aries with factory air conditioning, automatic transmission, power steering and brakes, plus AM/FM stereo starting at $39.88. While they last, $39.88. We're downtown and on the Merrill Hay Auto Mile.
Next time with Lincoln Mercury.
Now, from TV8, your official Iowa lottery station, here again are tonight's winning Lotto America numbers.
The look of a leader, TV8.
It's 10 o'clock. And now from TV8, Iowa's news leader, Kevin Cooney, Sue Mason, Connie McBurney with weather, and Heidi Soliday Sports. This is TV8 News, live at 10.
We're just elated, just overjoyed. It's just almost a miracle to us.
Good evening and Merry Christmas. Also, what a Christmas present for a worried Des Moines family tonight. Their kidnapped loved one phoning home. Bob Henry is free and in good health.
The former local TV anchorman was forced to drive all the way to the southern tip of Texas. TV8's Todd Megal broke the story live earlier this evening. Todd joins us now from Henry's home with this late update. Todd?
Sue, it could have been a tragic story, but it couldn't have had a happier ending. We're at the Grand Terrace Apartments where Bob Sternenborg, or Bob Henry, as he is known to television viewers, was living. And this is where he was kidnapped. He was on his way for a cup of coffee at a local grocery store yesterday morning, and then he disappeared. Since then, his family has been left upside down, but a fateful call, a great call, came tonight. We're with the family, and especially Berta, his wife. Berta, you got the call about 8 o'clock. What went through your mind when you heard his voice?
Oh, I just want to know how he was.
And how was he?
He said, I'm fine.
Were you shocked that he called and that he was fine considering what has happened to him?
Yes, I was. It's been so long. I was really getting worried.
He was kidnapped. The kidnappers took him from here down to Texas. Can you tell me a little bit about the experience and what he told you, how it went?
Well, he said he was treated okay. He had a couple of cookies and a cup of coffee. That's all he's had to eat ever since he left here. And we had his cards all canceled, so they tried to buy gas. They took all his money and all his credit cards and bought gas with the cash that he had, $10 worth of gas before they left town. And then when they ran out of gas again or needed gas, they stopped at a little store, and we had canceled all the cards, and he tried to buy. They bought gas. They had that in the car, and they bought some groceries and cigarettes and stuff. And then their card wouldn't go through, and so he knew something, but he didn't know what happened.
So luckily, they were not able to get very far, at least with his valuables. Can you tell me a little bit about what's happening now? Apparently, he's in the hands of police down there, and you're going to travel down there tomorrow morning.
Right. He's in a motel down there. Some lady that runs this hotel is from Iowa. Gave him $5 to get something to eat in a room tonight. And
okay, Bert, I want you to stay right there. We'll get back to you in just a second. The whole thing, as I mentioned, happened early yesterday, and here's a quick look at some of the events that's happened up to now. 68-year-old Robert Sternenborg is a familiar face to many Des Moines residents. He was a television anchor in the 60s and 70s and used the name Bob Henry. His family saw Sternenborg with two men Tuesday morning as he was getting into his car at the Grand Terrace Apartments, and then he disappeared. Then the phone call came to his terrorized family at 8 o'clock tonight. Kidnappers had let him go unharmed.
It's the same story. They were nice to him. He's got his car back. He's evidently okay. He sounds good on the phone. We're trying to line up a plane to fly out there and pick him up.
The family says Sternenborg had driven non-stop for the past day and a half. Apparently, the kidnappers needed a ride to Mexico.
I guess they kept him under pressure all the way, under a gun, but they treated him well.
They evidently spent the night in an abandoned schoolhouse or church or something. I'm not sure about the story. In Oklahoma last night, and took off for Texas this morning.
I talked to him for a couple minutes, and he was just amazed at what has been done for him.
We mentioned one of the daughters that said they were trying to find some air transportation so the family could have a reunion with their missing father. And we do find out now, just in the last few minutes, that you've arranged that. Can you tell me how that's going to work?
Well, my daughter works at, all my children work at Meredith, I think, but Rita works at downtown Meredith, and she's called a couple people that work where she works, Rick Rental and Larry Hartzick, and they called Ted Meredith, and the Meredith plane is going down to, fly us all down to Texas to pick up tomorrow. Apparently you're going to be very happy and a very happy reunion. Grateful and happy.
Okay, Berta, thank you very much for the information, and congratulations on a happy ending for the whole family here, many of the daughters and grandchildren here tonight. We do want to say that they will be leaving tomorrow morning at about 6:30, and we hope to have full coverage of that event and the reunion coming up on the news tomorrow. Sue?
Okay, thank you. Todd Megel reporting live.
In other news this Christmas Day, it happened officially. Everyone knew it would eventually. Mikhail Gorbachev stepped down as the head of what used to be the Soviet Union. Tonight, Gorbachev was praised by President Bush as a man who has earned his place in history. But the old Soviet Union has now ceased to be, and above the Kremlin tonight, the red and yellow hammer and sickle flag of the USSR was replaced with the white, blue, and red of the Russian Republic. For all intents and purposes, Boris Yeltsin has replaced Mikhail Gorbachev, and that includes control of the nuclear arsenal.
Society has been granted its freedom, has been politically and spiritually unchained, and that's our biggest achievement.
And with his resignation announcement today, Mikhail Gorbachev also indicated that he would like to take some of the credit for the radical reforms in what used to be the Soviet Union. He also acknowledged the Commonwealth that is left behind does have its problems.
The old system has crumbled before the new one has begun to work. And the crisis in society has become greater.
Gorbachev today also reflected on the good things that have happened during his tenure.
The Cold War is over. The arms race has been stopped, along with the insane militarization of the country that has distorted our economy, our mentality, and morality.
I'd like to express on behalf of the American people my gratitude to Mikhail Gorbachev.
Like many in America, President George Bush has clearly become fond of Mikhail Gorbachev, and tonight, President Bush returned to the White House and went before America's TV audience to praise Gorbachev for his courage and decisiveness in bringing about reforms for the Soviet Union.
Mikhail Gorbachev's revolutionary policies transformed the Soviet Union. His policies permitted the peoples of Russia and the other republics to cast aside decades of oppression and establish the foundations of freedom. His legacy guarantees him an honored place in history.
Also in his 8-minute address to the American people tonight, President Bush announced immediate recognition for 5 of the Commonwealth republics, with clear indication that all 12 will eventually receive the diplomatic recognition.
Iowan and Soviet expert John Crystal says he's not very optimistic about the future of what was once the Soviet Union. Crystal returned to Iowa Sunday after another trip to Russia and the Ukraine. Crystal is working on establishing agribusiness centers there. We talked to him today about his reaction to Gorbachev's resignation.
It's the end of an era. I thought he conducted himself in a statesmanlike manner. He wasn't vitriolic, although he certainly was eased out. And I thought he criticized himself and was willing to be helpful in the future.
Crystal says state officials plan to go ahead with establishing agribusiness centers there. He says it will definitely help out the troubled economy.
An automobile accident critically injured a Des Moines woman along University Avenue this afternoon. Authorities say Frances Huey apparently suffered a heart attack while driving. Her car then swerved into a telephone pole at 46th and University. Witnesses to the accident began performing CPR. Huey listed in critical condition at a local hospital.
A Charles City man is spending Christmas night in a Texas jail. 20-year-old Michael Klunder is accused of kidnapping 2 3-year-old girls from a Charles City apartment complex last week. The victims turned up unharmed 50 miles away. After a nationwide manhunt, Klunder was arrested at a Houston bus depot yesterday. He's held on first-degree kidnapping charges.
A Christmas thief on Wall Street tops the holiday national and world news headlines. The robber stole a car and $2 billion worth of bonds outside an all-night delicatessen in New York's financial district. The last laugh is on the Christmas thief. The bonds are non-negotiable. Just a lot of paper to the person who made off with them. Christmas midnight masses held from Vatican City to New York City on this Christmas Day. Among those in attendance at St. Patrick's Cathedral in New York City, a former Iowan with plenty to give thanks for. Freed hostage Terry Anderson. And in Manhattan, a sign of the tough economic times this Christmas, thousands of homeless people lining up outside Holy Apostles Church to eat their only Christmas Day meal at the local soup kitchen.
Christmas Day in Des Moines meant a hot meal and shelter for the less fortunate. We'll start at a local restaurant, Antlers, where the owner continued a tradition, sharing a free meal. Foggy says he started all this as a promise he made to himself following a heart attack. At the Bethel Mission on North 6th Avenue, Christmas brought hot meals and more. Those in need also received clothing, even toys for their children. Needy islands were lining up to get a holiday gift or two. And a big crowd at the Door of Faith Mission on Grand. More people coming in this Christmas Day than last year. Their hard times made just a little bit better thanks to a turkey dinner with everything, right down to the pumpkin pie.
And coming up next on this late edition of TV8 News, it has nothing to do with Christmas, but can a pig sing? Dana Carden takes us back in time to the Iowa State Fair to answer that pressing question.
And packages, not people, on these planes flying into Des Moines. Todd Megel with an eye on your money when we come back.